I actually think that the concept that a main character being the final boss of a previous fantasy world is one of the least crazy characters in the cast members of this show. Good morning, my weebs and gamers. It's been a while since I did a tier list of all of my favorite anime of the season. I believe the last one I did was fall. I did not do winter 2023. So what we're going to be doing today is we are going to be doing just a tier list of all of the spring anime 2023 anime that I have been watching. Now, I'm not going to lie, guys. I haven't seen all of these anime. That's a lot of fucking anime. Look at that list. Every one of these shows is a 12 to 13 episode show. I can't fucking watch all of these shows. That's too much even for me. And it's my job to watch anime. I have been watching quite a lot, or if I haven't been watching it, I've read ahead in the manga. What can I say? That's the same as watching the anime, right? But before we move on, a quick word from today's sponsor, MADTALE Idol RPG. MADTALE is an idol RPG title where you can enjoy an exhilarating roguelike adventure in a new, dark take on a fairy tale world where you battle the enemies with the help of your partners. Oh, you're a fairy tale expert? Tell me more, because you might think you know fairy tale characters until you meet them in MADTALE. Was Snow White always this manipulative? How about the gold-worshipping Cinderella? In MADTALE, each fairy tale character has a reverse personality, putting their own twist on the characters you thought you knew. Collect from a massive amount of characters from your favorite fairy tales that you can enhance by unlocking specialized paragenetic weapons exclusive to MADTALE. You have partners from 6 camps and 5 professionals, all with their own unique skills and buffs. Add to this 10 sets of secrets and 30 plus sets of gears to allow you to strategically make your own ultimate combination. But God, I don't have time to play video games. No times, no worries. You can establish your team in one tap and wait for victory while your partners fight automatically. You can get a huge number of rewards even if you're offline, so you can come back anytime and reap all of your rewards. So, what are you waiting for? MADTALE is available now on iOS and Android, available in 9 different languages. We have gone international so you can game with players from all over the world. Click the link in the description to start your MADTALE adventure today. Thank you very much to MADTALE Idol RPG for sponsoring this video. Back to the episode. So let me go through what I haven't been watching. I think I've watched everything else on here. Okay, starting off with Booby Cafe. I don't remember the name for this one. All I know is that this is harem anime number 69. This time they run a cafe and it has Terrace in the name. That's what I remember about this one. I've clowned on quintessential quintuplets before in the past, but it has a fucking catchy name. I'll give it that. This is surprisingly one of the only ecchi anime of the season. And you know what? I came into this thinking this was gonna be some trashy harem rom-com with, you know, a lot of ecchi scenes and a lot of slip over, main character sees panties and stuff. But you know what? It is, but it's not that bad. Part of the reason I like this one is because, not gonna lie, kind of reminds me of Love Hina. It gave me a lot of good nostalgic vibes in terms of just being a teenager again and enjoying a trashy harem. But what I actually liked about this was the main character feels a little bit more interesting than your Keitaros. Okay, because I love Hina, but Keitaro was a little bit of a wetbag of a protagonist for a lot of it. It was only up until like volume 10 or some shit that he started to change. The main character's a little bit rough around the edges, but he shows up when he needs to. They're giving like a taste that there's going to be actual character development between the girls and the guy, and it's not just pure fan service, but there is. I am going to give this one a B. The reason I'm putting it at a B is because there are some really fucking strong contenders this season. B to me is actually pretty damn good. A is really good and S tier is like God tier, and there are actually like 1 or 2 God tier shows this season. B is not bad. B is like a solid show, which I am also going to give to this one. The Dangers in My Heart I feel would be A for a lot of people. Watching this as a critic, objectively, it is one of the best romances airing this season. It is definitely awoken something in me in mukbang waifus. Why is it when the main girl is eating something or chewing something, it's so goddamn cute? Every girl needs a cute trope to make them stand out from the rest. And it's gotten to the point where, like, sometimes you see this one trope a million times. You're like, okay, I get it. You do this, main girl does this. And then for some reason, I've never seen a waifu just look so cute when just eating a ton, and God knows how she eats as much as she does and doesn't gain weight. My girl eats more than the average American. I wish I had her metabolism, man. Oh, I enjoy this. Especially the dynamic between the main girl and the main guy. You see the character development of the main guy being this, let's say, really creepy, kind of like incel-y kid, the kind of kid who would tell you not to come to school the next day, you know, really that kind of like vibes, to just a more functional human being. My problem with this is that it's not really a problem, it's just a preference. I've just kind of had enough of these kind of shows. I would have enjoyed this way more if this was like 10 years ago, if I was like in my mid-20s or something. I need a little bit more than just cute high school couples doing cute high school couple things. All right, moving on to Hell's Paradise. I'm kind of glad that there aren't many Shonen Jump shows like airing this season, because otherwise I would have to like compare a lot of them against each other. Hell's Paradise at this moment is A tier. I am having a fuck ton of fun with it. It is, to me, not the deepest Shonen Jump show. It is not the most original one, but it is one where from the get-go, it kind of has the rule of cool going for it. I'm still waiting for it to really find its identity, because I still don't know what kind of show it is going to be. But until we get to like the later plot developments about finding more about the actual paradise and what the backstory of the world is, I'm just having fun with it. It is kind of like one of those shows where you introduce a lot of characters, and all of these characters are like larger than life badass characters. You know that trope where you can tell who the NPCs are based on their character designs? They basically introduced like 12 characters, and every character looked like a supporting or main character, and they killed off half of them, which was impressive, because I was like, damn, all right, I thought this person was going to be around like until at least like episode 8 or something. One of the things that really keeps me coming back every episode is the mystery aspect of it. Basically just the feeling of exploring this world where the rules just don't make any sense. You can't take for granted anything you know about the laws of the land, and I kind of like that. It makes it so that pretty much anything you encounter on the islands could be a danger. Anything could potentially kill you with one missteps. Yes, this is the Elden Ring of anime, guys. Yes, sounds like Australia. But for now, I'm still very, very much enjoying Hell's Paradise. It is an A. It's going to take to, I think, the end of the season for me to fully form my opinion on what kind of story this is going to be. But right now, I'm still having a lot of fun. Moving on to my home hero. I feel like this one is a little disappointing, actually. Not because I think that it is inherently a bad show. I just think it's the most mediocre fucking adaptation I've ever seen in my life. Yeah, I watched a few episodes of the anime, and I'm like, this is a read the manga show. And I think I've made the right decision. I ended up reading further ahead in the manga. It still is kind of enjoyable. I haven't fully sold myself on it yet, because one of the big things that is preventing me from fully getting into the story of my home hero, it's that you really have to suspend your disbelief a lot with what people can fucking get away with in this show. I thought that it would be a lot more of a slow burn than what it actually is, but some pretty big plot developments happen pretty fast, and I'm like, how are they gonna get out of this conundrum that they've gotten themselves in? It kind of makes sense in the logic of its own world, but at the same time, I can't actually imagine humans acting this way. It's basically a murder thriller where a married couple, a father and a mother, accidentally murders their daughter's boyfriend, who happens to be in the Yakuza, and they have to hide the fact that they murdered a Yakuza member from the Yakuza and everyone involved. And my guy knows way too much about how to get rid of a dead body. This is sus as fuck, man. He knows everything because, guys, he's a mystery author. That's not even the most sus thing about this entire situation, because throughout this entire thing, his wife walks in on him, finds out he's just killed a man, doesn't ask any questions, and is like, honey, we're hiding this body. Don't worry about it. I'm not gonna ask any questions. I'm a ride or die bitch. I'm with you all the way. I'm like, holy shit. This couple is ride or die. It's one of those shows where I read it because I don't have anything better to do. Yeah, I wasn't super sold on like the first 25 chapters. All right, moving on to Heavenly Delusion. Heavenly Delusion kind of came out of nowhere. I had never heard of this show before I saw it on the seasonal chart stream. Never saw any hype from it at all. It is far and beyond one of the best shows this season. I actually think this is the highest production show this season. It is movie quality animation at points. This is one of Production IG's best looking show, like period. Not only is the animation really, really good, I know I put this at S, but it's kind of like here right now. It's like between an S and an A because they are still cooking. I don't know everything that they are cooking in this show, but what they've cooked so far has been pretty damn tasty. We've gotten the starter, and the starter has been god damn, that's been a good starter. We're still going through the main course because one of the big things, and one of the things I've enjoyed the most about this show, is that we are presented this world. We are presented this post-apocalyptic world, and we're basically told nothing that's happened. We're told nothing about what's happened, why there are monsters roaming the world, why there's a disease going around, why there are doppelgangers, how people can transfer consciousness or whatever. There's so many fucking things going on, and we have no idea how it all connects together, and we're not treated like idiots. The reason it is not fully S tier yet, I'm still waiting to see how it all comes together, because that's going to be a very, very important aspect to me, because the only downside I have with this show so far is just the amount of things that are going on. If it does not come together, I can see that this has the potential to be an extraordinary car crash. There is one show that this kind of reminds me of in terms of the vibe. Darling in the Franxx. One of the best shows this season, one of the ones I'm enjoying the most this season. And another downside, it's available on Disney+. So I couldn't actually watch it if I was in America. Moving on to Yuri Is My Job. I mean, what can I say, guys? Cute girls do gay things. It's Yuri bait, the show. And I'm not gonna lie, I sometimes like my Yuri bait shows. This one was just boring to me. Some people found it fun, but you're gonna have to do more to sell me on a show than gay girls alone. I know it's a meme here, guys. Don't have too much to say about it. I thought it was pretty damn forgettable. The entire cafe felt like a Reddit discussion thread. Oh, the girl looked at her like this. Oh, they fucking. Gonna move on. My fellow men of culture. We have My One-Hit Kill Sister. The show that has the least subtle incest bait I've ever seen since possibly Domestic Girlfriend. That wasn't even incest bait. What am I talking about? That was just straight up incest. The sister is not subtle at all with having the hots for her brother. In fact, this sister fucking suicided. This is the only girl I've seen that is suicided for incest. I have a really hard time rating this one. It is bad. I did not enjoy the mother isekai. It is honestly around that same kind of level. You're gonna need more than incest and fan service to sell me on the show. But holy shit, why do the action scenes go so hard? Anime? Why this one? Why did you decide to make this one look so fucking good? Could have gone to Lucifer and the Biscuit Hammer. You could have made that one amazing animation, but no. You give it to the fucking sister isekai. I want to hate this show completely, but I have to admit, the action scenes do go pretty hard in this one. What is the state of the anime industry? That the sister incest isekai anime is one of the best animated shows. Why? How did we get here? Holy fucking shit. This is a high C. There is no way I'm putting this on the same level as these two shows for the action alone. The action goes pretty fucking hard. All right, Tonikaku Season 2 has just been more wholesome, married life fun. I don't have too much to add on this. It's just like wholesome romance. It's kind of like there's a lot of romances like this that are coming out now that I think do it right. To me, it's on the same level as something like Horimiya. I'm biased as well. This show is also cute, but this show has a married couple. Who relates, guys? Couldn't be me. Couldn't be me, guys. Moving on to, what the fuck is this one? The Aristocrats Otherworldly Adventure Surfing Gods, blah. I'm not gonna read the full name. This one's D tier. This does the cardinal sin for a fantasy kind of generic light novel show. It is completely fucking forgettable. It's not even like entertaining bad or entertainingly trashy. It's just meh. We found a rating worse than mid. Meh. That is the worst rating you can give an anime. Because even if something is bad, I feel like there is inherently some value if something is like super bad. There is absolutely nothing. The worst thing an anime can make me do is feel nothing. And that's what this anime did. That is not actually the worst show of all, because it's this show. Genuinely think the Kizuna Eye anime is the worst airing show of the season. It's awful. Okay, it's not like I said. It does exactly the same thing. It's not bad. It's even more meh than the Aristocrat Isekai. Except the thing that's worst about this is that I actually feel like the concept has potential. I feel like a VTuber Academy could obviously be interesting if done right. You know, you have a different angle you can take from most other idol shows. You have like the VTuber aspect, but they don't do anything with that. The best animated scenes in this show are the fucking MMD dancers. How does the VTuber 3D models look better than most of your shows that you actually paid for? It's I think the worst show that's airing this season. Let me skip a few because we're talking about banger openings right now. So the hero is already dead. Something with hero and something with Dej and something with, it doesn't fucking matter. First impressions of this show was actually really fucking good. I like the concept of this. So the concept of this is that the legendary hero that is meant to save the world, he accidentally dies. But one of his party members is a necromancer who basically revives him. And it's kind of like a fantasy light novel show, but it's a bit more of a comedy kind of show. I really like the concept, and unironically, the opening is one of my favorite openings to air this season. The opening was the best part of the show. I gave it a few more episodes after that, but I was trying to find where the comedy was in all of this. I wanted to really like this show. You know when you watch a comedy anime and the comedy is just typical anime bullshit? There's a girl who gets naked and that's the punchline. And I don't know who finds that actually funny. This one gets a low C just for the opening. If this one gets a C for the animation, this one gets a low C for the opening. I fucking love good fan service, alright? I am a man of culture, but if the fan service does nothing from the show, in fact, if the fan service is the butt of a joke or detracts from other cool things that could be happening with the show, and it doesn't piss me, it makes me roll my eyes to be like, really? I like fan service, but I want to see fan service done right. Is that too much to ask? If you're gonna put titty in my anime, put it where it belongs, all right? Okay, moving on. I don't think I watched Blue Orchestra, so that goes there. Dead Mount Death Play. This one was a fucking curveball of a show. I had no idea what to expect from this show, and I still am not too sure like where the story is going, but episode 1 starts off like your generic fucking isekai. I thought it was going to be your generic isekai fantasy. I kind of like zoned out a bit, and then it hits you at the end with this twist where the main character in Dead Mount Death Play is basically the final boss of this fantasy world, and the way it portrays it at the beginning, it portrays it to make you think that the protagonist of this fantasy world got isekai'd to the real world in modern day like Shibuya, and then he wakes up in the body of a young boy and he's already been murdered once by a yandere girl, and I thought it was going to be some kind of like death game. The more I watched, and I did also read further ahead in the manga, the more I realized it is not. It is not that at all. I don't even know why they spent so much time building up this isekai aspect of the main character, because it is right in the middle between Bakuno and Durarara, which makes sense because it's from the author of both of them. It takes place in a modern setting like Durarara, but I think the characters in Dead Mount Deathplay are all like kind of like larger than life, like they are in Bakuno. It is just fun. And then as the story goes on, more crazy characters get introduced. And then instead of everyone being introduced at once, you get introduced like one at a time, slowly but surely, which I think actually is a good thing. So the first arc is a bit of a slow burn, but I think that's to its benefit. And I don't even know how I can describe some of these crazy characters. I actually think that the concept that a main character being a corpse master, the final boss of a previous fantasy world, is one of the least crazy characters in the cast members of this show. This one's an A tier for me. Genuinely, if you like Bakuno, if you like Durarara, which I do, this is more of the same. Otaku Elf. I think it's this one. Here's the thing, guys. Here's the thing. I want to like this one. It has a beautifully thick elf girl, but kind of remind me of Umaru a lot. I don't know. I had to ask the question of, can Umaru-chan be replaced by a thick One-chan elf girl and I would enjoy it? And the answer is no. Did not really enjoy this one. I was like, if I don't enjoy this one with this as the main girl, there's absolutely no chance. There's no chance I'm going to enjoy this one. How I like to put this, there's a category that is just neckbeard waifus. She's a neckbeard waifu. All right, moving on to Skip and Loafer. Ooh. This one currently not S tier just yet, but it is a high A, and I enjoy the fuck out of it. One of those shows I didn't expect to like this much. In fact, I'm going to skip forward with two of them because I both have very, very similar things to say about both of these shows, but I'll start to Skip and Loafer. There has been few shows that I feel have such authenticity to them, and Skip and Loafer is one of those shows. It reminds me of kind of like the best part of your teenage years, the best part of just adolescence and youth. You come out of every episode feeling so fucking good, so wholesome, and I don't even fully understand why or how it's hitting so hard. Something about the vibe of this show, it hits that Kokoro, man. It hits that Kokoro. Do you remember back in your high school years? I didn't even have the best time in high school, the best time in like middle school. There are some moments in my high school years where I think back to it and I'm like, damn, I missed the time when my biggest problems was trying to get my crush's attention and trying to pass my exams and that weird thing I did in class, because at the time they did feel like problems, but you look back and you're like, none of that shit actually mattered. But I missed that. I missed the innocence of that. That is this show in a nutshell. You're just seeing teenagers trying to adapt to high school life, and it's just a fucking vibe. I don't know. It's such a good vibe, such a good show, and every episode just leaves you with the warmest feeling you could possibly ask for. And I'm not 100% sure what their secret is. I just think PA Works have given this adaptation exactly what it needs. It's not gone like amazingly above and beyond with this animation or anything like that, but it's still pretty damn good. And that reminds me a lot of the Insomniacs After School. That's the one. Insomniacs After School. Also, I am drawn to it for a lot of the same reasons. One of those reasons is not only is it comfy like Skip to Loafer, it's a different kind of comfy. It has more of a romance aspect. So both these shows I enjoy just about as much right now. I think if I'm speaking in terms of potential, I think Insomniacs After School has a bit more potential to hit harder because it's a really cozy, it's a really nice vibe right now. But I can tell that if it chooses to do something dramatic with its plotline, it'll be really fucking hard. I don't know if I'm prepared for that. It hasn't happened yet, which is why at this moment it is high A tier, like Skip and Loafer. If it chooses to have some hard-hitting moments in it, which I can see it doing, I can see myself being a complete fucking mess. One thing that I like about it, above other kind of romances that are airing this season, is, I don't know what, let's take Insomniacs After School and compare it to something like The Dangers in My Heart. Even though both of the sets of characters are around the same age, something about the romance in Insomniacs After School just feels more mature. I said that I couldn't really invest myself in this romance because I'm kind of like above that age right now, but the characters in Insomniacs After School, they don't feel like anime characters. They feel way more grounded. It feels way more like a human connection being made as opposed to cute anime characters doing cute things. I don't know, even though they're both the same age, this one just feels way more mature. I want more modern romances where characters talk to each other like human fucking beings. Maybe I've grown up, guys. Moving on to the reason why Raeliana ended up at the Duke's mansion. Oh, it's Raeliana, sorry. I don't know why I said Raeliana. This is kind of like another anime in the villainess show. And I thought to myself, you've seen like one villainess show, you've kind of seen them all. It's kind of like the isekai of josei and shoujo manga in my eyes, because that's exactly what it is. But you know what? I really fucking like this. This is probably my favorite otome isekai show I've watched. It's like a low A for me, or high B, somewhere in between. I came into this thinking I was going to drop it at episode 2. I'm just really enjoying the fuck out of it, because one of the things that stood out to me about this compared to every other villainess anime manga, so it's kind of like the same concept. What I really liked about this is that it felt like the stakes were higher. Instead of being more comedy based like All Routes Lead to Doom, which I felt was more lighthearted and comedy, this one actually feels like the stakes are a lot higher, which it really like should be. If she doesn't get this all sorted, she's going to die. It really felt more like a drama. Another thing is that I was surprised at how much politics there was in this anime. I think the big difference is the fact that this is a manhwa instead of a manga, because it definitely felt way more dramatic. And the reason I put it at low A tier instead of like high B tier is because I came into this expecting to drop it, and I'm enjoying the fuck out of it. Because of these surprising expectations, it gets an A tier. The marginal service, I didn't fucking watch this. Mahou Shoujo Magical Destroyers. This is far and beyond my biggest disappointment of the season. I really wanted to like this. I wanted to like this so fucking much. It has one of the craziest concepts that's airing this season, right? It is literally fucking weebs rise up. Being an otaku and being a weeb has been made illegal, which it should be. They are right. One of the reasons I wanted to like this so much is because it has such a banger OP and it has such a banger ED as well. And the animation goes goddamn hard. It has one of the strongest visual identities of like any show this season. It's like a mix between Trigger, Gainax, Dead Leaves. The people working on this actually fucking give a shit. So it hurts that after episode 2, it just gets really stale and boring. And it kind of feels like all style and not really much substance in it. It feels like it's just, you know, oh, here's this quirky, weird show. And then it doesn't do anything aside from be quirky and weird. It doesn't have anything after that. It hurts me because I could tell that the people working on this actually care about this show, but it's just not that interesting. It's like a C tier for me. Quick fire ones that I want to get out the way. Kawasugi Crisis is cute. It's an alien girl falling in love with how cute cats are. I would rather just go to a real cat cafe if I'm being honest. It was cute if you like that kind of thing. 3 episodes for me. This one was Sung to Another World for a second time. I genuinely thought that this one had an interesting concept. It really could have been way more interesting than it was, but this is the prime example of when you have an interesting concept, but the most boring fucking execution of all time. So you have a guy going through a new game plus for a world he's already saved. So I was like, that's pretty interesting. I haven't really seen this concept done in an isekai before. And the execution is just dog shit boring. He just goes around finding party members and finding the connections that he had made previously when he previously saved the world, which I thought could be actually interesting, but no, it's just boring. It's D tier for me. Yamada Kun Lv999. What the fuck is the name for this one? My fellow gamers, we finally have a romance. This one is a solid romance. It is a solid romance. I feel like people like it a lot just because we have been so fucking starved of good shoujo romances, but I don't think it does anything too much to go above and beyond for me. It is a solid show. I look at this compared to some other top tier shoujo romances and I'm like, I still would put it below a lot of, not below. I don't think it's incredible. It's just nice. It's just nice. I kind of like that the girl is a hot mess. In real life, that would probably put me off a lot. But the girl is a hot mess, and I kind of dig it. You're showing up in my door at God knows what time it is. You are literally a random fucking girl who trauma dumped on me. You married her? Hey, man. Hey. My wife isn't that much of a hot mess, all right? I'm enjoying this one. I feel like people like this because it's got a gamer in this. All right, moving on to... Oh, God. I got a cheat skill in another world and became unrivaled. I thought I was going to enjoy this one. I thought this was going to be my pick for the trashy isekai of the season that I liked, but it goes too far. I realized watching this show that even my trashy wish fulfillment isekai has a cap. Even that has a bar where if it goes above that bar, I cannot take this seriously. This is basically that really happened as an anime. A lot of isekai are your trashy wish fulfillment kind of shows. This takes your general normal wish fulfillment and amps it up to fucking 100. Every single scene, every single episode ends with, and then they clapped. Every episode, I swear to God. Like in episode 2, he stands up to his bullies, and then a hot girl who he stood up for before shows up at his door. Turns out she's a rich girl who enrolls in a really prestigious school, and she wants him to enroll in that prestigious school and nobody else. And everyone clapped. Every problem in his life is solved by him suddenly becoming good looking. One of the compliments one of the girls gives him is, oh my God, his legs are so long. That was it? That's why he's a popular dude now? Oh, his legs are so long. Oh, I'm sorry. Where is my compliments? My legs are long. Look how long these legs are. That's how I got Sydney. You know, when we met up for the first time and on the altar, she's like, oh my God, still can't handle your long legs, man. Your long legs is why this marriage is working. So I can attest that, you know, it does actually work. Yeah, this one's D tier for me. All right, Oshi No Ko. Is this even a question, guys? Is this even a fucking question, all right? I hate to say it, but sometimes anime meets the hype. I can already tell because it's like one of the top rated anime on Mal. People are gonna be like, oh, it's overrated. It's overrated. That's just your average My Anime List user busting a nut too early like they always can do. Of course, that is going to get your typical Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood fan to be like, oh, but it's overrated. Oh, can we just say it's a good show? It's a fucking great show without taking it 10 steps too far. I don't have anything more to say about this show that I haven't already said. In fact, I believe that my words have been put on High Dive's website to sell this show. I've already sold it enough. If you're not watching Oshi No Ko, what are you doing? Go watch it this season. It's really fucking good. Moving on. Gundam, the Witch from Mercury. This is how you know. This is how you know this is a season full of fucking bangers. This is how you know this is a season full of bangers. Oh, Witch from Mercury has been so good. Oh my God. Gundam's back, baby. Gundam is back. I have never been more happy to see war crimes being committed, man. I haven't been this happy since Attack on Titan, which isn't actually that long ago. Did that say something about the anime community recently? It's like, war crimes are happening. Yo, let's go fucking hide war crimes. The Witch from Mercury season 2 has been slapping harder at the ending of season 1 of Witch from Mercury. It is gone back to what I feel like is, let's say, more traditional pure Gundam. The first season kind of focused on a lot of the corporate and high school politics with their world. And I feel like after it set everything up, season 2 has just gone off the rails, and it kind of reminds you, oh, this is a fucking Gundam. Okay, oh, we got another bad parent. This has been one of my favorite shows airing this season. It has hit the hype I thought it would hit at the end of season 1, and I honestly hope it continues. My biggest thing is that I don't know if this is going to be a 2-season kind of thing. I mean, what I will say is that I would be kind of surprised if they resolved everything within this season, actually. And I'd actually be kind of disappointed because the world that they've set up, the characters that they've set up, all the character developments that they've set up in this cast so far, I don't think can be or should be fully resolved in the next coming 5 episodes or something. Gundam Witch from Mercury has been the show I've wanted it to be. It's going to be the show I recommend new anime fans watch to get into mecha, perhaps even above 86. Those Gunpla sales! Bandai's been like, yo, is it payday? I think it's payday. Moving on. Konosuba spin-off has honestly been good. It's been solid. It's not been anything more than solid. I still would prefer OG Konosuba to this one, but as a spin-off, it's done its job. Demon Slayer. I needed the time for the soul. Hold on, let me run through the rest of these so far before I get to the real big hitters. Birdie Wing Season 2, more great Birdie Wing. What can I say? I'm not completely up to date with it right now, but I know Birdie Wing's one of those shows that I'm going to just marathon through. I would give the last season AS tier. I think so far I'll give another A. Biggest W of Birdie Wing Season 2. They have fucking kept Penis Lion. Oh, I was so happy. Big W. Magic and Muscle is also A tier. Like I said, there is a lot of good fucking shows this season. This is another show that I don't really have much to say because it's exactly what it says on the tin. You have a Giga Chad Gym Bro beating up on Harry Potter nerds, and that's pretty much the show. And that's pretty much all I need. It hasn't done anything extraordinary, but the concept alone has sold me on the show. It's one of those shows that's kind of like, I need to marathon this show because one episode is not enough. It's a mix between like Mob Psycho 100 and One Punch Man and Harry Potter. And it takes an amalgamation of all of those different shows and it puts its own spin on it. I will say it's funny how much this is basically Harry Potter. I mean, we've seen wizard schools before. It's so unapologetically Hogwarts that it's kind of funny. Yeah, I'm enjoying this a lot. It's an A for me. I'm up to date with this. I catch up to it because it's just that much fun. I think it has potential to have really good action that comes out of nowhere. And again, gut feeling. If it does, then I will love this show even more. As it stands, it's just a nice turn your brain off. Here's some shonen junk food you can eat and just enjoy yourself and have a good time. All right, before we get to the final 2, I really want to start Magus Bride Season 2. I don't remember anything that's happened in the first season. So this is one of those shows where I want to rewatch the first season before I start the second season because it's been a long fucking time since I watched the first season, but I'm definitely gonna be watching it. This has been my biggest fucking surprise this season. Remember when I said that I got a cheat skill in another world and became unrivaled in the real world as well? I thought that was going to be my trashy pick of the season. Turns out it was this. This has been my trashy isekai pick of the season. People are saying S wouldn't fucking go that far, but for me, it's a high B. I did not think I would enjoy the show this much. This has been so bad, it's good kind of show. It has got some of the worst CG I've ever seen in an anime. I'm not joking. It has got some of the worst fucking CG I have ever seen in an anime. The more you watch, the more you realize I think it's kind of bad on purpose. There is this one scene where there's like this guy farming on a tractor and it's literally, they literally put a filter like out of nowhere. They put a fucking TikTok filter over a guy on a tractor and they have like an anime filter on his face and they just called that animation and it got a fucking laugh out of me. Kamikatsu is what happens when a studio knows what their strengths are and they play to those strengths. They knew that maybe they couldn't get amazing looking CG, so they just put the worst CG imaginable and they put all their efforts into making the comedy hit. To me, it's genuinely funny. It's the punchlines actually hit. It is a show that has a really creative use of its budget, and when the animation does need to hit, it's not like the most amazing animation in the world, but it definitely doesn't look as bad as the bad looking CG. This is basically what happens if a studio just posts, and I kind of dig it. You would think that a show that looks this bad kind of has us laughing at the show. But the most amazing thing about this, I'm never laughing at the show, I'm laughing with the show. Last 2, and these are 2 big ones. This is what I've been waiting for. Demon Slayer, the Swordsmith Village arc. So, every season, every single season, I come in wanting to think, I've sussed you out. I know everything to expect. But every season so far, it's gone and done something that has dropped my jaw to the floor. It's gone and surprised me and gone and given me unbelievably high levels of hype. This is the first season that so far has not done that. Yet. It has not done that. It has been solid and good, but I would be lying if it's been anything but a high B or low A tier. Animation is again really fucking good, and for that reason I'm gonna give it a low A tier. I've enjoyed it more than all of these shows. It's more like a B plus for me, or an A minus for me. That looks more about right to me. If it follows previous seasons, Demon Slayer has always ended on an absolute fucking banger. And the one thing that I've learned is you should never discount Demon Slayer, okay? You should never ever discount Demon Slayer. So far, we are 9 episodes in, and I haven't really had a holy shit moment. Season 2 had some amazingly cool fight scenes with 3 things going on at once, and I think this one has just been... Demon Slayer's always been simple, but it's not really done anything new for Demon Slayer at all. So we finally get to end things off with Vinland Saga. If you have disagreed with anything I've said today, if you have thought I've misplaced one of your favorite anime, or if you think I have just made a bad list in general, it's okay. You're not my enemy. I have no enemies. All water under the bridge. I bear no hatred towards you. If you want to put Demon Slayer in S tier, if you want to put Oshi No Ko in D tier, I bear no hatred towards you. You are not my enemy, because we can all agree Vinland Saga is S tier. It is continuing to be an absolute masterpiece. No one here is my enemy, and that's because Vinland Saga Season 2 is airing. Farmland Saga I thought would be slower, which it is. It is very slow, but what I didn't remember was still how engaging it was, and that's a testament to how good the writing is, because even though it is slower, I have never been bored in Vinland Saga Season 2. I've always felt engaged in the story being told and the emotions being portrayed in this story, and it makes me realize that all the more because the last few episodes it's kind of like picked up a bit. It's just been incredible, and it just continues to get better and better. It is my favorite anime that's airing this season, even above Oshi No Ko. I'm already waiting for a season 3. It is a fucking masterpiece of a show. Seeing Thorfinn's development has been as much of a treat as I remember it being in the manga, and seeing his journey and seeing the juxtaposition between Knut's journey and decisions that he's made during the story, during his own personal story, has been such a joy to see. You will not see many stories, many anime in your lives that hit an emotion and give you a story that has such a beautiful meaning behind it as much as Vinland Saga. I have a feeling that once again it's going to be one of the best stories told this decade, and if you disagree with that, it's okay. We have no enemies here. You are fine to do so. I think regardless of if you agreed with my rankings or not, this has been an incredible fucking season, and I hope that kind of reflects in all of the rankings I've given today. But if you enjoyed that video, don't forget to hit the like, subscribe, whatever, comment on what your favorite anime has been this season. And if you don't know, I'm streaming this all on Twitch, twitch.tv/Giguk, if you want to check me out sometimes. I've been live quite a lot more this season. But anyway, that's been it from me. I've been Giguk, and I'll see you all next time. Bye-bye.